Welcome back to another episode of Fantasy Football Friendly Focus. I am your host who claims he knows the most, but if my picks don't help you, you can definitely roast, but if somehow you win, you can definitely toast. So how'd you guys do last week? I went 1-1 in both my leagues. Um, yeah, I think I'm done for in one league, but I have a slim chance in another league. So what did we learn in week 12? So the Mike White era is officially starting in the New York Jets. I think it's his job to lose, so I don't think he's gonna let give it back to Zach Wilson at all. Played really well, threw about 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Looks like the offense is alive again. Looking for them to be doing the same going forward. So um, Broncos look like they're done. Wilson looked flat. They only managed to score 10 points against the Panthers. Russell Wilson looked like no one's getting along, riding with him. So, and then he's getting in arguments with even the defensive coordinators. So, yeah, they're done. So, and the Jaguars with upset win at home against the Ravens. So, um, Trevor Lawrence looks like the real deal. All his offensive guys seem to be clicking really well. So, yeah, looks like they're not the team to be trampled on anymore. So, let's jump right into the games. So for week 13, it's going to be the Bills at the uh, Patriots, the first game. So, yeah, I say start Josh Allen. He hasn't been like his usual self as of late, but I still start him at New England. Diggs is no brainer. Knox is actually getting some more looks, so he's definitely worth a stream. Same with McKenzie and Davis. They seem to be the go-to guys for Allen when he can't find Diggs. Singletary has kind of dropped off a little bit after scoring a couple touchdowns the last couple weeks, but he probably with the good flex. The Patriots run defense is actually pretty good. They're pretty good, so I think it might be like possibly like mid to low scoring game, seeing how it is a divisional game. It's at New England, and I would say start Buffalo defense against Mac Jones. He did pretty well against Minnesota defense, but last week, but Minnesota, defense isn't really that good at all. So, but he's going against a tougher defense this week. Um, Speaking of Mac Jones, wouldn't recommend starting him this week. Um, he did really well last week. That's a good sign, but this week, I don't think it'll continue. Same with his receivers, Myers, um, Parker, Bourne, all those guys. So it looks like they took a touchdown from Hunter Henry last week, so they kind of screwed him. But at least he's getting some looks. So he'd definitely be worth a stream this week. Same with Ramon Stevenson. He's the lead back now, and it looks like Damon Harris is hurt, so it's his job to lose. And then I wouldn't recommend starting Patriots defense this week. So Steelers, the Falcons is the next game. So Kenny Pickett did enough last week for them to win. I don't think he threw a single touchdown, but I wouldn't recommend starting him this week. Um, if Harris plays, I would say start him, but I think Snell might be in line to get some carries. I think Harris is the other backup, so monitor that closely. I think Pickens is the only receiver worth picking, streaming, but that's still a long shot. Deontay Johnson and him have fallen off. Fryermuth probably. He seems like the only go-to guy. And Pittsburgh defense. It may look tempting to go against the Falcons, but they did give up like 17 points last week, so I wouldn't say start them. When it comes to the Falcons, Mariota, I wouldn't suggest it, even though Pittsburgh has a pretty bad record. They're still a stingy defense, and even at home I don't recommend starting him. Um, Drake London probably not either. Um, Looks like Kyle Pitts is out for the year, so I don't even know who the backup is. Seems to be a trend, and I don't know who the backup tight end is. And same with the running backs, Algier. I think Patterson would probably be the only guy worth starting because he also returns punts, but they might overuse him. So use with caution. And I would, even with Pickett playing the way he is, I wouldn't recommend using him. The Falcons defense. So the Broncos are at the Ravens next, so don't use anybody on the Broncos. Not Wilson, not Murray, not Sutton, nobody. Not the defense, not the tight end, nobody. They played against the Panthers last week, only scored like 10 points, like I mentioned earlier. They're going against a Ravens team that lost last minute last week, so they're pretty PO'd, so they're probably going to take it on the Broncos. So yeah, if you have any Broncos players, bench them this week. Look for Lamar Jackson to get back on track this week. He's probably going to have a bounce back week. Look for Robinson and Dumervay to get back into the mix. And Mark Andrews, no brainer, start him. I think Drake London is still the lead running back, but I think switches off with Gus Edwards. So, but I would go with Drake more. And Baltimore defense definitely worth the start this week. So, the Packers at the Bears is the next game. So, looked like Aaron Rodgers said he's going to be playing this week. So, let's play against the Bears. Bears are defense is pretty bad. I would recommend starting him this week. So, when it comes to the receivers, I think Watson is the only consistent guy, even though he didn't really do anything last week. So, I would recommend only starting him. When it comes to running backs, Aaron Jones is the only guy that is the consistent point getter there. Dylan, gives him a break here and there, but it doesn't really score any points. So, Tanyan, kind of hit or miss, so I would say no. And even though it might be tempting to start the Packers defense, I would say don't start them. Because it probably depends on if Justin Fields is playing. He's probably still going through that separated shoulder, so I'm thinking he might miss a second game. But even if he does play, I wouldn't recommend starting him. He might, be banged up. And he just lost Mooney for the year, I think. So he's down another weapon. I wouldn't recommend starting Kmet. I think he got maybe 1 or 2 catches, or even 0 points last week. So I would say reserve starting Kmet, at least until they have a better matchup. Probably Montgomery would be the only guy I would start because they're, he's probably good at running the ball, and then they'd probably be running the ball a lot. And Bears defense wouldn't start. Jaguars at the Lions. Now this game is probably going to be a barn burner. So you have two teams that are 4-7. They actually play better than their record, and Lawrence did pretty well last week and brought the team back, and they won. So I would definitely say start Lawrence this week. Christian Kirk as well. Zay Jones actually did pretty well last week. If Etienne is playing, yeah, I would say. But if he's not, I think Hasty is available in a lot of free agent waiver wires out there. So, but I wouldn't recommend starting the Jags defense. This game is going to be pretty high scoring, I believe. So, with that said, I say you should probably start Jared Goff against the Lions. Amon St. Brown, of course. Another trend. I don't know the tight end for the backup tight end for the Lions. Swift and Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams, of course, because he's the guy that gets a touchdown more than anything, if you have him. So, and Lions defense, never start them. So this next game is going to be interesting. Browns at the Texans. So it looked like Deshaun Watson is finally able to come back. He's going, and the irony in this, that he gets to go back into Houston to play. So probably going to be a lot of boos, but he'd probably be a good streamer this week. Even though he might get have some struggles here and there, but against the Texans, no better team than start than against the Texans. So I actually start him for sure. Amari Cooper, starting Njoku. He had a great one-handed catch last week against the Buccaneers. I wouldn't say start Hunt because it looks like Chubb just takes over. Hunt's just kind of there just to give him a break here and there. And Cleveland defense, definitely worth a start this week for sure. Texans, they're kind of like the Broncos. So if you have anybody for the offense and they're playing against the Broncos or the Texans, start them. You have a defense that goes against the Texans or Broncos, start them. Anyone for the Texans, don't start them. Kyle Allen, nope. Any of the tight ends, nope. Wide receivers, nope. So defense, nope. So that one was easy. So the next game is going to be the Jets at the Vikings under Mike White. So I know what everyone's probably thinking, that anyone could pretty much beat the Bears. The Vikings are a much tougher test, so it's in Minnesota. But you got to remember that the Vikings, like pretty much all the games they played, they've given up a bunch of points on defense, even though they've won a bunch of those games. So I would say if you have Mike White, start him. If you don't have anybody else, definitely be a good test for him for sure. Wilson, Davis, a lot of those guys probably should be getting a lot of looks. Tyler Conklin's finally got into the picture. And I love saying this guy's name, Zonovan Knight, or Bam Knight. He's actually got a lot of reps, so he's probably going to be integrated in the game a lot more. We don't know the status of Michael Carter. I don't know if Michael Carter's hurt, if they're going to start James Robinson or not. He was a healthy scratch last week, but they're probably going to go with the hot hand with Knight. So, and even though they're on the road, I think the Jets defense is definitely worth a stream this week. You know that Cousins does give up a lot of turnovers. He does throw a lot of picks and gets sacked a lot. So they're probably definitely worth a stream this week, even though this game might be mid to high scoring. So when it goes to that, with the Vikings, I say if you have Cousins, if you've been riding him this long, then yeah, go with him for sure. Just Jeff said, no brainer. You got to start him every week. Same with Dalvin Cook, and Hawkinson finally was able to score. I wouldn't say start the Viking defense. Like I said before, they give up way too many points. So no, that wouldn't. Even though the matchup might look enticing. So the Commanders are at the Giants is the next game. So Heineke had done enough for them to win. Probably good as a good game manager. I wouldn't say something amazing. Defense has probably helped a lot of the running game. So I wouldn't recommend starting him this week. It's in New York. McLaren, Samuel, he got through somebody, so I'm guessing I would trust McLaren more. The guy seems to get more open. When it comes to Logan Thomas, he's just kind of more of the blocker there. Brian Robinson, if you have him, I would say start him. He seems to take over the lead running back role, so they'll probably get down to the one and punch it in. So start him for sure. And I wouldn't start Washington defense this week. When it comes to the Giants, Daniel Jones, let's see. I'm on the fence on this one. So it's a divisional game at home. Probably going to be mid-scoring game. Probably kind of close, maybe defensive. I wouldn't say start him this week. Man, I've lost touch of who the wide receivers are and tight ends in the Giants are. They seem kind of inconsistent, so I probably wouldn't start him. Only guy I would start is Saquon Barkley. Yeah, he's most consistent this year, so yeah, start him. And I wouldn't say start the Giants defense. So next game is going to be the Titans at the Eagles. So Tannehill did enough last week. He did throw a screenplay to Derrick Henry, but then Derrick Henry fumbled it, and so he didn't get the points for that. He did okay. But they're playing against the Eagles this week, not the Bengals. So it's going to be a tougher matchup. So I think Burks is a good pickup. I think he's kind of the main receiver now. So against that Eagles secondary, I probably wouldn't recommend it. Same with the tight end. But Henry's the only guy I would recommend on the Titans, and Titans defense, no. For the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, yeah, I'd say start him. Even though the Titans defense is actually pretty tough, I think they're going to air out the ball. And A.J. Brown is returning to the Titans, so it's kind of a revenge game, so look for him to get open. If he's covered, then Devontae Smith for sure. Can't remember if Dallas Goedert. I think Dallas Goedert's out for the year. There's that trend again. I don't know who the tight end is, but Miles Sanders, yeah, I would say start him. And then Philly defense is pretty interesting. I'd say if they can keep Henry in check, yeah, I would say definitely stream him for sure. Next game is going to be the Seahawks against the Rams. So Seahawks lost a heartbreaker last week in overtime. Josh Jacobs running in for that touchdown. Now they have an easier matchup with the Rams. That's been kind of tough to say. But I would say start Geno Smith, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett for sure. Noah Fant, but Kenneth Walker the third, definitely start him for sure. And then Seahawks defense, they're probably going up against the third string quarterback again. Same quarterback from last week for sure. My apologies if I don't know the third string quarterback for the Rams, but no. So in this instance, probably for the next couple weeks. The Rams are probably in the same scenario as the Texans and the Broncos. Don't start anybody on the team. Like you have Cup, Anderson, Robinson hurt. Higbee's kind of like an afterthought. Akers is back as a lead back, but they're probably gonna be down so much that it doesn't even matter. Same with Van Jefferson as wide receiver, and then Aaron Donald went down with a high ankle sprain. He's gonna be out a couple weeks, so the defense is taking a blow. So yeah, if you have a Rams player, wouldn't suggest starting them at all. Dolphins at 49ers, and that's going to be a pretty interesting game. So it's going to be a good test for Tua on the road. But he's been playing pretty lights out, so I'd say start him. Waddle, Hill for sure. Jeff Wilson, Mostert, if you have him. It seems kind of Gesicki has kind of fallen off. So, and this is a tough matchup. So I'd say bench him if you have somebody better. And if you have the Dolphins defense, I'd say skip on this for this week. Comes to Garoppolo, he did enough last week for them to beat the Saints. He's going tougher test against the Dolphins this week, so I say if you have someone better, then go with them. Seems one week he's doing really well, and the next week he's just doing okay. Samuel, Ayuk, possibly if you guys have those guys, you don't have anyone better. I think Elijah Mitchell went down again, so it's Christian McCaffrey, I'm sorry, his game. And then Kittle kind of, after that, scoring a couple touchdowns, kind of disappeared again. So he's kind of too inconsistent for me to say to start. So, and 49ers defense, even though they're at home, it's going to be a tough task to kind of slow down the Dolphins. So I'd say don't start them. So the Chiefs at the Bengals, and this should be a good game as well too. So Mahomes, no-brainer. Kelsey, no-brainer. Man, comes to the wide receivers, I can't tell you which one to start. It's just throwing the ball too much. Kelsey would be the only receiver, tight end that recommend. Looks like Pacheco is the starter with McKinnon coming in, and it looks like Melvin Gordon found a new home. I'm pretty sure that he fumbled so many times on purpose to get kicked off the Broncos because no one wants to be on that mess of a team right now. So, I mean, he'd be an interesting pickup, but I wouldn't say pick him up because he's on the practice squad right now. Only if it's like if the run game really suffers, then I'd say pick up Gordon. But no, he only if he plays this week for some kind of reason. But no. Bengals won last week, so I think they're getting Jamar Chase back this week. So start Burrow with confidence for sure. Higgins, Boyd has kind of been an afterthought, so it's just mostly Higgins and Chase. Hayden Hurst as well, so I think Mixon's going to be back in this game, so look for him to get involved. If not, then possibly Pirine. And when it comes to the Bengals defense, no. If I didn't mention, then don't start the Chiefs defense. So I think this game is going to be pretty high scoring. It's going to be a back and forth game, so kind of like a rematch of the AFC Championship last year. Chargers at the Raiders. This is going to be kind of the same kind of game. I think it's going to be back and forth. Herbert's a no-brainer. Keenan Allen is back. Start him for sure. If Mike Williams plays, start him for sure. Eckler, Everett is back too, so look for him to get involved. Chargers defense has been kind of like meh this entire year, so I wouldn't recommend starting them. Derek Carr start for sure. Devontae Adams start for sure. Moreau, he's stepped in pretty well as the backup for Waller, so start him for sure. Josh Jacobs for sure, and Raider defense, no. So in this instance, all offensive guys start, defenses, no. So the Colts at the Cowboys is the next game. Oh man, look at this game. So Jeff Saturday, it looks like they didn't know how to save his timeouts. Doesn't get any better against the Cowboys, so I wouldn't say start Matt Ryan. I wouldn't even say start Jonathan Taylor or Michael Pittman. Mo Alley Cox defense, probably would just want to bench those. Maybe Taylor, but they might be behind so much that he's not even involved. So I'd say no to all the Colts players, but I would say yes to all the Cowboys players. So Dak, Lamb would be the only guy I'd trust. Dalton Schultz looks like he's getting more involved, so start him for sure. The combo of Pollard and Zeke, yep, for sure. And Definitely Cowboys defense this week for sure. Um, the Monday night game is going to be the Saints at the Buccaneers. Okay, so this seems to be a theme this week. Well, no, not really. Um, if Dalton plays, then I would say don't start Dalton. Olave, yes. Wide receiver. Running back Kamara, yes. Gus Johnson, yes. Saints defense, no. Brady, yes. Um, I don't think I've seen much from Mike Evans last couple weeks. Godwin, I would say yes. But if you have Evans start this week, it depends on which running back is going. Is it Fournette, White? I can't remember the other guy. There's like three of them, and the tight end. Like I said, I don't remember who the backup tight end is, but and Buccaneers defense is definitely worth the stream this week. So let's take a look at the kickers. So pretty much basic. Justin Tucker, you're gonna start every single week. Jake Elliott. This game is probably going to be back and forth. So for against the Titans, so that's starting for sure. Give me a second here. Harrison Butker, yep, they're going to be scoring a lot against the Bengals. Brett Maher, the Colts, Cowboys are probably going to pile a bunch of points on the Colts. Tyler Bass, the Patriots. So even though this game might seem pretty defensive, look for the Bass to get plenty of opportunities to kick some field goals. Daniel Carlson against Chargers, same thing. It's going to be back and forth. Look for extra points, field goals. Evan McPherson against Chiefs, another slobber knocker of a game. They're going to be back and forth there. Suck up against Saints. I think they're going to be up a lot against this Saints. It may not be a shutout, but pretty close to it. Maybe not allow the give the Saints a lot of times to score, but they're going to be piling up a lot of points on them. Jason Myers at the Rams. So yeah, Saints. The Seahawks look to get back into the win column. So look for them to pile on the points against the Rams. Case York against the Texans. Same with the Browns. They're going to point a lot of points. So a lot of teams are going to have opportunities to pile up a lot of points. Case York at the Texans. So kicker for the Browns, and Robbie Gold against the Dolphins. So that's a good matchup as well. So those are going to be my stardom sit-em this week. Good luck for you guys this week. I wish you guys well on all your teams. It's coming soon. Playoff crunch is coming off soon. So it's only a couple more weeks till playoffs. And hopefully you guys get all the wins you guys need to get in. Thanks for watching the video. Comment, like, subscribe if you guys like it. Thanks for nerding out to our nonsense. Fantasy to our football. All that good stuff. But again, thanks for watching, guys. And I'll see you guys in the next video for next week.